The other day I was looking around on YouTube when I stumbled across this video from Desktop Makes. Here Vladimir challenged his students to design this very shape in Fusion. While it looks simple at first, it's really not that easy to design because there are a lot of things that come into play. So he gave his challenge to his students, and you can see in the video that they've all tried their best in order to come up with a solution to create this shape. He also mentioned that this was inspired by Kristian Lahome's challenge. So I went to take a look at his channel, and I found the original challenge. And as you can see, the shapes are similar, but there's a big difference. There's two actually. The first difference is the most obvious one. Here you have the straight corners, and here you have chamfered, filleted edges. But the biggest difference is that here the orientation is different. As you can see, when you look from the bottom side, you can see the flat side of this design. While in Kristian Lahome's original challenge, this is actually a standoff, a trophy display, where you have the same kind of objects, but it is oriented in a way where 3 points make a perfect plane. They always do, but in this case a horizontal plane. Because the trophy stand needs to stand on top of the table, and the table needs to be horizontal and flat. Same goes for the top 3 pieces. So the hard part of this design is that the bottom 3 points and the top 3 points should both be in their respective horizontal plane. And that's way harder because in order to achieve this, you cannot simply rotate it to that specific angle because it's a super complex angle to calculate. So you need to make, he also posted the solution, a very complex sketch and project it to the right angle. It's a rather complex creation in order to get everything at exactly the right place if you want to do this. I'll leave links to all 3 videos in the description so you can check them out for yourself. I just mentioned this because this is not what we'll be making. We'll be focusing on this design because the interesting part is that you can give this challenge to 20 persons and they will all come up with their own way to solve this problem. As you can see in the video, they all do, and they all find interesting solutions and they can learn from each other, which makes these kind of challenges extremely interesting to learn Fusion, for example. But when I saw the video, I noticed that everyone was using sketches. There's no problem with using sketches, but they used a lot of them, even 3D sketches. And what's the problem with sketches? It's that you need to make them, which takes time. You need to dimension them and you need to constrain them. Each step takes time and can induce an error. So if you have 7 or 8 sketches running around in 3D in order to create this kind of complex shape, it will become a very hard way to create this shape. It won't be very foolproof if you want to edit it. So when I looked at that shape, I thought, I think I can even design this shape without using any sketches. So I went to Fusion and I tried it out and it worked, and I will show you how I did it in a second. So we're not going to do the cube stand challenge from Kristian Lahome, but we'll do the box design challenge from Desktop Makes. And in order to come up with a simple solution for this complex challenge, we need to think a bit out of the box. Or should I say around the box. I'll fire up Fusion and I'll show you how I would design this shape. So in order to design around the box, we first of all need a box. So we can go to Create, then select Box, start by selecting our bottom plane from our origin, set one corner at the origin and drag the other one. This example will make a 50 by 50 by 50 millimeter cube. So we'll enter 50 right here. And now we have a perfect cube with a side of 50 millimeters. That's the first step. We have created a cube. The second step is filleting this cube. Go to Fillet. And now we need to select the right edges. So we'll select this edge, and this edge, looking from the front. Then we rotate our camera, go to this point, and we select this edge, and this edge. So with those 6 edges selected, we can add our fillet like this, 10 millimeters for example, which is fine, which will fillet our cube except from these edges. And now we have one sharp edge running all along this shape. We didn't need to make a sketch or even a 3D sketch to get this edge, and we can use this edge as a path for our pipe. So this is our construction cube. And we can now go to the third step where we create a pipe. We select the path we just created. This is a sharp edge. It will create a pipe all the way around. Be sure to set it to square section. So by default it will be a circular section, but we want a square section. We don't want it to cut away our construction cube. We want a new body. So set it to new, and then we press OK. And now when we take a look at the browser, we have 2 bodies. We can hide the construction body. We can even rename them. Call this construction cube. We'll rename this to design. And that is our shape finished. So we have 3 simple steps in order to create this complex design, and we did without even making a single sketch. And now our design is also super parametric because we can edit all these steps. If we want to make it bigger or smaller, we can go to the first step, double click it, change the dimensions of our construction cube. It doesn't even need to be a cube. It can be all 3 different dimensions. Click OK, it updates our shape and it looks perfect. We can change the fillets in the second step, make them bigger or smaller. Okay, and when we make them small enough, it will even not round the inside edges. And when we make them bigger, everything updates nicely. And we can edit the last step in order to make our sections smaller or bigger, or even create it to change it to a circular shape. So we have a super simple recipe with 3 steps that are all 3 super easy to edit and change. We can even go a step further and make this entirely parametric. So we can go to Modify, change parameters, and we can add some parameters here. So we'll add a new one here by pressing the plus icon, and we'll call it cube rib. We'll add a value, which is 100. We'll add a new parameter called section size, and we'll set that to 50 millimeters, for example. And we'll add a new parameter where we enter our fillet value, and we'll set that one to 25. Okay, So now I have 3 parameters, and I will need to go back into my design to add these parameters where they should be used. So I'll press OK. I open the first step. With these parameters, I want to make a cube, so all these values need to be the same, and they need to be the rib parameter. I will copy and paste it to all these 3 values, so we always have a cube. I go into the fillet, I change my fillet to fillet value parameter, okay. And then we go into the third step where we set it back to square, and our section size will be defined by this parameter. Okay. So now our entire design is parametric. We can go to modify, change parameters, and we can generate every kind of variant of this design by editing these values. So we can make it bigger, and when we press enter, it will update immediately on a bigger section, no problem. We'll set it to 30 millimeters. Want a bigger fillet value, no problem. Everything updates accordingly. And with us always with parameters, when you have to be careful, there are always limitations. If you put the section size up all the way to 500 millimeters, you get this kind of stuff. I'm surprised it even generates something and not just an error, but it's always interesting to try around and see what you can generate with these parameters. Voila, there you have it. It's now entirely parametric, our design. Now I will also show you how I designed this the first way around, because this was actually my second try. But there are some smaller problems with that workflow. I will show you how I did it. So we'll go back 2 steps, and I started with creating the same basic construction cube. In the next step, I created the pipe. Create pipe. I selected the path like this. Be sure to hold your Control or on a Mac Command key to add to the selection. And then I selected all these edges. This is already more work because you have no continuous path. But you can go same way, select operation new body, okay. We'll hide the construction cube, and now we have our basic shape the same. Now we have to add the fillets onto this shape. We can do that in the same way by going to fillet. We have to be careful because now we have to add a bunch more fillets, and as you can see, I have selected only the inside corners. So I will fillet these because we need to fillet the outside corners with a different amount, because otherwise it wouldn't look good. See, if we fillet them with the same amount, it gets kind of lumpy here because we need a bigger fillet at the outside in order to make this look way better. So we'll deselect this one. I'll add a new set. I'll select the outside corners now. Make sure we also have 6. Missed one. Here. Oh, this one. So 6 inside edges and 6 outside edges, and as you already can see, we need to make the outside edges bigger, and I don't know, I think this looks okay, but we'll check it. So it depends on the section. So we go back to the pipe. The section is 20 millimeters, which means that in order to have a nice, you can see it takes longer to update because it's a complexer workflow, you need the inside edges to be 30 millimeters and you need the outside edges to be the radius of the inside plus the radius of the section, the width of the section, which is 20 millimeters. So you need to do a lot of math. You can link these together. That's also possible, but it's all complexer and complexer. So the workflow I showed you in the beginning is a lot easier and a lot faster. Just create the box, fillet the box, and create the pipe, and you're done. And there you have the shape. So thanks a lot, Vladimir, for the fun challenge. Thanks for watching, and if you have an even better idea on how to model this shape, certainly let me know in the comments. Make your own video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.